Hello, my name is Tony Dong. Supreme Court reinstates part of Trump travel ban. We'll hear case in the fall. The Supreme Court is letting a limited version of the Trump administration ban on travel from 6 mostly Muslim countries to take effect, a victory for President Donald Trump in the biggest legal controversy of his young presidency. The court said Monday the ban on visitors from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen could be enforced as long as they lack a credible claim of a bona fide relationship with a person or entity in the United States. The justices will hear arguments in the case in October. Trump said last week that the ban would take effect 72 hours after being cleared by courts. The Trump administration said the 90-day ban was needed to allow an internal review of the screening procedures for visa applicants from those countries. That review should be complete before October 2, the first day the justices could hear arguments in their new term. A 120 ban on refugees also is being allowed to take effect on a limited basis. 3 of the court's conservative justices said they would have let the complete bans take effect. Justice Clarence Thomas, joined by Justices Samuel Alito and Neil Gorsuch, said the government has shown it is likely to succeed on the merits of the case, and that it will suffer irreparable harm with any interference. Thomas said the government's interest in preserving national security outweighs any hardship to people denied entry into the country. 2 federal appeals courts had blocked the travel policy, which Trump announced a week after he took office in January, and revised in March after setbacks in court. The 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia, said the ban was rooted in religious animus toward Muslims and pointed to Trump's campaign promise to impose a ban on Muslims entering the country, as well as tweets and remarks he has made since becoming president. The San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said the travel policy does not comply with federal immigration law, including a prohibition on nationality-based discrimination. That court also put a hold on separate aspects of the policy that would keep all refugees out of the United States for 120 days and cut by more than half, from 110,000 to 50,000, the cap on refugees in the current government spending year that ends September 30. Trump's first executive order on travel applied to travelers from the 6 countries as well as Iraq, and took effect immediately, causing chaos and panic at airports over the last weekend in January, as the Homeland Security Department scrambled to figure out who the order covered and how it was to be implemented. A federal judge blocked it 8 days later, an order that was upheld by a 9th Circuit panel. Rather than pursue an appeal, the administration said it would revise the policy. In March, Trump issued the narrower order. Thank you for watching. For the follow-up, subscribe to the channel yourself here.
Hello, my name is Tony Dong. Trump travel ban injunction lifted in part by Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court has partially lifted an injunction against President Donald Trump's travel ban. America's highest court also granted an emergency request from the White House allowing part of the refugee ban to go into effect. The justices said they would consider in October whether Mr. Trump's policy should be upheld or struck down. Mr. Trump seeks to place a 90-day ban on people from 6 mainly Muslim nations and a 120-day ban on refugees. The Supreme Court said in Monday's ruling, in practical terms, this means that the executive order may not be enforced against foreign nationals. A credible claim of a bona fide relationship with a person or entity in the United States. All other foreign nationals are subject to the provisions of the executive order. A Trump win. Anthony Zerker, BBC News, Washington. Mark this down as a win for Donald Trump. The path to entry into the U.S. for immigrants and refugees from the affected nations if they don't have existing ties to the U.S. either through family, schools, or employment just became considerably harder. The decision marks a reaffirmation of the sweeping powers the president has traditionally been granted by the courts in areas of national security. There was fear in some quarters that the administration's ham-fisted implementation of its immigration policy could do lasting damage to the president's prerogatives. That appears not to be the case. The government, the justices' right, has a compelling need to provide for the nation's security. That includes being able to close the borders based on an evaluation of the potential of foreign threats, at least for now. The Supreme Court justices will fully consider the arguments on both sides next autumn. Of course, by that time it may not matter. The administration has 3 months to conduct its executive review of immigration policy and devise new guidelines. In the meantime, the gates to America just got a bit smaller. The court said it could not uphold lower court injunctions barring enforcement of the ban against foreigners who have no connection to the United States at all. Denying entry to such a foreign national does not burden any American party by reason of that party's relationship with the foreign national, the court said. The court also said it would allow a 120-day ban on all refugees entering the U.S. to go into effect, allowing the government to bar entry to refugee claimants who do not have any bona fide relationship with an American individual or entity. Justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch wrote in the ruling that they would have allowed the travel ban to go into full effect, pending a review. The ruling hands a major victory to Mr. Trump, who restored a 5-4 conservative majority to the Supreme Court when his nominee, Justice Gorsuch, joined its bench in April. There are 5 Republican appointees on the court and 4 Democratic appointees. Mr. Trump's policy had been left in limbo since it was struck down by federal judges in Hawaii and Maryland, who found it to be discriminatory. Those lower courts ruled against the executive order days after the president issued a revised version with a narrower scope on the 6th of March. The original ban, released on the 27th of January, provoked mass protests at American airports. The president's revised order calls for a 90-day ban on travelers from Libya, Iran, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen. It also introduces a 120-day ban on all refugees entering the U.S. to enable the government to implement stronger vetting procedures. Mr. Trump issued the orders amid a slew of terrorist attacks in Paris, London, Brussels, Berlin, and other cities. However, critics called the policy un-American and Islamophobic. The president was unhappy about the March order, calling it a watered-down, politically correct version of the first one. January's original executive order included Iraq among nations whose travelers would be barred from the U.S. and imposed a full ban on refugees from Syria. Thank you for watching. For the follow-up, subscribe to the channel yourself here.